Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, I want to explain about Ribis. What did you say?
All the lenders didn't come tonight, just the borrowers are here.
I want to say something about Ribis. You know, Ribis is, you have to have a combination, understand how Issa works, and you have to have a business head. You have to be what we call business oriented, to understand business deals. It's not hard, I find people have a hard time with Ribis because they don't understand business. If you understand how business works, many things become easier. Okay? So, let's start. You have to be extremely careful of Ribis. Just for the record, the word ma'oid is a quote of the Torah. And the Torah says this only twice in the entire Torah. It says by Ribis ma'oid, you have to be careful on Ribis, and by aroyas. Ma'oid, you have to stay away from an erva. See, ervas, with honest with ourselves, we do know we could get into trouble. You have to stay away from yichud, flirt with another lady. Ribis, many people don't realize, it is very easy when you're in business to make mistakes, and it's like once you make money, it's a great way of making money. So that's why it says ma'oid me'oid. It says bein mal uni. It doesn't make a difference you give a loan for uni. Bein mal ushid. Guy's wealthy guy, and who cares? He doesn't care if he's going to lose a little money. So it's not because it's guy's a poor guy, you got to do him a favor. See, let me just stop for a moment. Ribis is really exeris akosiv. You know why? I'm allowed to rent my table. I'm allowed to rent my chair. I'm allowed to rent my iPhone. I cannot rent my money. It's a rental. It's even more risky than a rental. Because if I rent you my phone, I rent you my car, I rent you my Gemara, it's not going to give him money. It's a risk. If the guy goes bankrupt, I don't mean the legal thing of bankruptcy. I mean, if a guy loses all his money, he ain't going to get paid. So it's a risk. In business, if you're all familiar, the higher the interest, the higher is the risk. You know that. The low interest is the most secure. Anything that's high interest, because it's risky. That's the rule of business all the time, and the stocks and all these things. But it's exeris akosiv. There is no way to understand this. It's only exeris of the Rabbi Shalom. I could rent you my car, I could rent you my chair, I could rent you my dress, but I cannot rent money. So Ribis. Okay, so he says, Shekamu, the Rav goes on, Shekamu lavan, the many lavan, Vazura hizarakusa fil ala loiva. Even on the loiva. See, normally, you don't tell a person, don't let a robber come into your house. If your guy wants to leave the door open, the guy wants to be irresponsible, so you leave the door open, if someone robs you. You're not oivan iser by leaving the door open. Here the Torah said to the guy who's taking the loan, even you want to give the money to the guy, I don't want you to give the loan Ribis. It's incredible chiddush. I'm allowed to take a dollar bill and burn it, besides Bal Tashchis. There's no Isser. If I want to give you a gift, a $10,000 gift, so give it. So he wants to give a gift. This guy's giving me a loan, and I want to pay him back more, and the Torah says, no! Ribis is such an incredible chiddush that even the loiva has a special lav. It's not a general lav, a special lav, that even the loiva, and not only that, the loiva is begging, you do me the biggest favor, I have no cash. And the Torah says, no, there's a lav, he says. You make a big announcement, you want to say, rob me, it is sure. Ribis, interesting expression, it's a Lushan Rabbi, he brings down the bottom. It's such a terrible sin. Hizer gam haloiva. There's a lav. So ribis is such a horrible sin that even for the loiva has the problem. You realize? That's which is a big chiddush. It's a huge chiddush. Shenema le'siteng le'sashich lo'chichu. What does le'sashich lo'chichu? The Gemara Darshi means over here. Le'siteng neshech lo'chichu. Don't give him neshech. Don't give extra money for a loan. Neshech kesef, neshech oichel, neshech kol duvar she'yishach. Any neshech you're not allowed to give. I'm going to tell you a cute story. In Chabad, in the Besmedish, there was once a big argument among the Rabbis. What happened? A bocher, it was a hot day, and a bocher told the boy, give me the soda. Give me the cold soda. The guy says, oh wow, it's a good soda. You know what? Tonight, after the Seder, I'm going to get you a six-pack. So they were arguing, if it's the Raisa, if it's the Rebunan. So one of the rabbis called me up and I says, this is, the Torah calls Ribis Oichel. Ribis Oichel means one for many. One soda, now the guy's going to bring me 6 sodas later. So this is called Ribis Daraisa. It's clear Ribis. You give 1 apple for 5 apples. You know, the Torah does not say it's got to be cash. It's got to be food too. That's the Torah says very clear. That's it.
Exchange my 1 share for your 4 shares. I can't do that.
No, you're not exchanging. You're not a loan. It's not a loan exchanging. A loan. Let me explain. This is a very important question. A loan means I'm waiting to get paid. Time delay. This guy says it's lunchtime now. You're giving me a soda. I have to wait for the payment till tonight. I'll take a 6-pack for that. If you exchange immediately, there's no time.
Even if the guy didn't pay you immediately, that's the thing.
No, he has to pay. That's a separate issue. The guy lied to you. No. The guy's paying right now. There's no problem. The guy exchanging. We'll see later. There's no problem.
Different from renting though. Like I'm giving someone my chairs in exchange, and then when I get my chairs back, he's going to give me money on top of the chairs.
I said you're right. There is no explanation. You're allowed to rent your chairs. You're allowed to rent your car. You're allowed to rent an apartment. You cannot rent your money. There is no explanation. It's a gzeiras hakosef.
But on the flip side, I'm just trying to get around. On the flip side of it, if there's a delay between anything that I'm giving to somebody else and what they're giving back to me.
Yeah, but the delay is listen carefully. Delay is only money that gets spent. You eat apples. I ate the money. I used the money. Chairs are not made to use.
So
if I give you chairs and I say, and I'm going to.
I need a chair very badly right now. If you give me a chair, tomorrow I'll give you 4 chairs.
Yeah, that's okay. He's not allowed to spend the chair. He's going to give you the chair back with 3 other chairs. But if I'm going to break the chair today, and for payment of that chair, I'll give you extra chairs. That's the Ribis Daraisa. If I said I'm lending you a chair, and for that I'm charging you 4 of your new chairs at home. So that's a rental fee.
It has to be consumable.
Consumable. That's the word in English, right? Yeah, it has to be consumable. Yes.
But 2 people make an agreement to split gas. One person puts everything on his credit card. They go back and he gives them, this is how much it costs, and he gives them extra on top of that a few days later. So
That's Ribis. Yeah.
give back the extra if we get an agreement to split it.
We'll see later what you have to do, but that's called Ribis.
But it's hard, like, more realistic case is that it's hard to estimate the gas, so you're not careful.
No, he's talking about, we filled up the tank, $40, I have to give 20, you have to give 20, I give you $21. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, he gave 5
And now $21 because the credit card is charging him $1.
No, it's not you, it's usually the credit card doesn't charge you if you pay in time.
So I need to give back the extra.
If you pay on time.
Well, if you didn't, yes, you should, you should give it back. We'll see it later. But anyways, Zug the Rav, Afila Eitzim Avonam doesn't make a difference. Ben Sharibas Imamin Halvua, the Ribis is the same type, Ben Shidu Aracha. Let's say I gave you 5 apples and you give me 6 oranges. You know what I mean? It doesn't make a difference. I mean, Ribis is what we said, we're consumable. So anything that you consume, and now you have to pay back that, and you pay me more, then the value, then it's Ribis Deraisa. It's the value, it's not the items. But later, see that. It's not the item, it's the value. 5 apples today was worth so much, you're paying me extra, that's the Ribis, that's the okay? Ben Ribis Imin Halvu, Ben Shidvaracha Fil Ein Bo Shuva Prita. Even there's no Shuva Prita. You know, Shuva Prita became quite expensive now. How much is silver? Who's in the market now?
It's several things.
45 an ounce, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, 45 an ounce. 45 an ounce is a lot of money. Yeah, 45 ounce makes it approximately. Yeah, it comes out the prita is about, could be 50 cents already. About 50 cents a prita. You know, when I'm sad the Kedushin, you have to say loud if it's worth a shuva prita. So, you know why you have to ask that question? Many people have no idea. The reason to ask the question, the kala should not think that she's getting who knows what, because she's getting an expensive ring, and the Gemara says that one opinion is she had a mind to miskadish on an expensive ring. Turns out cheap ring, so we made it's not chal de kedusha. So that we just say, you know, you think it's worth $1? So I always say a shuva prita. One time I asked one of my daughters, she's getting married, do you know what a shuva prita means? No. Then I realized that under the chuppah, you know, my daughter doesn't know. So since then I never use the word shuva prita. I say, you think it's worth $1? You know what I mean? And I always try to make sure that it's a little more than a pruta, you know what I mean? I think it's worth $1 because she has to be aware that she's not getting who knows what. Anyways, so the chiddush is, even though it's less than a shuva pruta, which normally anything less than a shuva pruta, it's not called money. I mean, it's called money, but if you're ganef less than a shuva pruta, you don't have to give it back. You're mekadosh less than a shuva pruta, it's not chal de kedushin. If it's so expensive, the silver's, let's say 50 cents an ounce, you know, whatever it comes out, the pruta is not an ounce. It comes out about 50 cents, the pruta, then every mekadosh with a quarter, kedushin is not chal. Right. So you have to know exactly the amount. Okay. So that I have base. Chalamalvo beribis. A person is malvo beribis. Ki ile koife veleka Yisrael. Wow. It's denying there's a Rabbi Shalom in Betzis Mitzrayim. Then he comes with Chiyas HaMesim. He doesn't get up with Chiyas HaMesim. Do you know that there was a mini through Europe? It says in Elchonon, when a person dies and he didn't pay his debt, they would not bury him till the Yisraelim paid his debt.
You could do that.
Yeah, it says in Elchonon. They used to do it. That's guaranteed you're going to be paid. If the father was muhzik, he doesn't pay and he owes money, so they would not bury the mess till they paid. So the story in Chasim Sofer in his city that the Chaver Kedisha asked Chasim Sofer, he never paid his dues for the what's his name, for the Kehillah dues. And it's not so simple that it's a chiyuv, how to do. So Chasim Sofer said they should charge him for the kvura, should charge him a lot of money, you know, full price, more than full price. And he was a person who was also known to give loans on Ribis. He was a wealthy person, a very strange person. But people, unfortunately, took a loan on Ribis. So the children came to Chasim Sofer and he says, you know, that's like, you know, the outlandish amount of money. Chasim Sofer said like this: normally, when you bury a person, you pay only lease because Tchias HaMesim is going to be. It's going to be a short time. But your father's not going to get up Tchias HaMesim. He's going to be a long time there. So Mamela, we have to charge him a lot more. But great Chasim Sofer. The Heilig Chasim Sofer. But it's one of the main, the reason it is amazing that the Ribis is so chomer that it's one of the mitzvahs you don't get Tchias HaMesim. It's very frightening. I mean, in the Zohar has, there's no real good explanation that I understand, even up in Kabbalah. I mean, the Zohar goes off that Neshech, it has to do with the Noshach and the Nochash, but you know, there's no clear explanation, nigla, to try to explain what's wrong. It's so terrible. A ganav, a rapist, what do you think is worse? A rapist or a guy's malva beribis? A rapist doesn't say he doesn't get up to Chiyas HaMesim. Yeah, shagets, you know, he beat his bones, but a rapist, but he gets up to Chiyas HaMesim. A malva beribis doesn't get up to Chiyas HaMesim. That's a mighty big azach. but to us it doesn't make sense. In Seichel it doesn't make sense because I'm allowed to rent you my chair, I'll rent you down, I'll rent my money. It's like Zedus Akosov. There's no explanation. There's no logic about it.
This includes the one who gives Ribis, the one who receives,
Both are over. But the one who gave the Ribis, the Chesed is only the Malva. Yeah. The receiver. Right. The receive the Ribis. Yeah. Yeah. The Malva. Right. Okay, any comment here, Sameisim, aber Oilem Azeh, Nechsosa Mesmatatim Kulam. He loses all his money. Okay. So the Rav, the Ustelis Asik, Bein Loive Malva, Beribis. You're not allowed to be an agent between a Malva and a Reuve and Ribis. You're not allowed to be. Chomish Srs10 is an agent, or Shes Echab Mehem. He helped one of them to get a loan. You know, guy, you want to need a loan on interest, he will give you. See, you know what we don't realize? Our entire economy rolls on credit. You know, who in this room could say all his credit cards are paid off? Or he has no credit card. You have no credit card. Okay, rare. My father should never wanted a credit card. The only reason he got a credit card, you can't buy airline tickets without a credit card. But we all, unfortunately, I pay it off. I don't pay interest. But I'm just saying, so many people live on but the Afabi can. We'll get later how it works business. But I'm saying Ribis is the Torah Asidit. But he's not be an agent. He says, he's over the lab of the Sitna Michshel, unless he could have done it by his own. You know, if the Iver Sitna Michshel is only a lav, you know what Lifnei Iver Sitna Michshel means? You're not allowed to give a blind, don't put in front of a blind person a stone. But Chazal Darshan, it doesn't have to mean a blind person. A person is blind because of he has a Yetzer Hara. Interesting, Rambam, the Rambam explains it. A person who is driven by his Yetzer Hara is blind. Do not help him do an Isser. Don't give a Nozer a glass of wine. Don't, supply for any Isser for a person. So if he couldn't get the loan without him, then he's over from Iver Sitna Michshel, he's saying. If you give it to him, he could have got a loan, there's an Issa D'Rabbanan. You're not allowed to help a person doing Aveda. This is very important. I have more than once been asked this question. A lady recently called me. Her mother doesn't keep kosher, and she unfortunately had a small stroke, so she does the shopping. She gets so angry at her that she buys kosher and says, "Mom, I'm going to pay for the kosher meat." I don't want. So you're not allowed to buy non-kosher meat. Doesn't make a difference even though she was raised not religious. You're not allowed to buy her. Just take the wrapper off and, I don't know what you should do, but you can help a person who's doing an Aveda, just can't help him, just because, he's anyways not keeping kosher, I'm going to give him my extra piece of meat, not kosher meat. You can't do that.
That includes helping a guy lend a Jew the Ribis?
No, a guy is allowed to. Going to Jew, you're allowed to. Right. We're talking about from a Yid to not the Yid.
What about owning shares in a bank?
Well, we'll get to that.
We just started on Halacha Bezos.
That is a whole complicated and
Mortgage brokers.
yeah. But the banks, first of all, 90% of the banks are run by 90% of the people own banks are going. Yeah, it's companies. It's on the market. Yeah, but most of the shares of a company is not owned by Jews. Most of these banks, They just opened now a few new banks in New York, Jew. They have to mate with Heteriska. They just in Lakewood, they just opened a bank, my son told me, and they made a Heteriska. We'll learn later. I want to explain Hilchas Ribis. We cannot jump because it's you have to have two things. Yeah, it's a little complicated. You have to have a business head. You have to think as a businessman. The more business you understand business, the easier it goes. Okay, where are we up to? Vishanasa ed b'neim. That is helping, but becoming a ed witness, a urev, a guarantor, chena soifer. So it means the one who writes out the documents. I had once a girl call me up. Father says, call the rabbi. And she called, 19, I was very, very impressed the way she presented herself, but she works for a Jewish non-religious person who gives loans. with Ribis, and she types them up. Says, you got to quit. I mean, what? Yes, it's lunchtime. Go home. You can't type anymore. This is the halacha. I mean, you can't type up the documents. You know, even though it's she doesn't type. She tells me it's the computer. You can't even push the button to Anyway, so he says.
So Mom had to quit her job?
She quit her job. Twice I was impressed with the young girls. Another time a girl told me her job was that a Jewish guy, Leider, not very religious, but I don't want to say what he was selling. He's quite famous in the community. But job was to add things on the bill. They have a huge supply, and add a little bit. Sometimes they catch it. Oh, I'm a mistake. We added. Sometimes they add and charge for it. That's not so terrible. Let the guy look it over, and that wasn't the worst thing. That's right, and they would charge. And the guy would say, "Oh, we ordered it. I don't know if we ordered it." And that's okay. You could just say, Often they would add. Once in a while, he says, "You're not allowed to do that." So I also says, "You got to quit right now."
You know, in any bank, the banks do this the whole time.
The what?
Charge 50 cents.
No, you do know that. No. That's services. You just, but that's our own fault. You don't read the paper. Here, she overcharged. See, let's say the guy she gave me a marshal. The guy ordered 10 things. They only had 9. The Taka only had 9. But he was told her, he ordered 10, sent 10, and only 9 charged for 10. And most often the other side, they don't.
They got 10.
Yeah, they got 9.
They got 9.
Yeah, this was one of his shtick. You ordered 10. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't realize some of the supply. Shtick and they knew which customer doesn't look at the bills. It was a whole. So it's mamish geneva. And even by goy, this is asa. Not only by even the most of the customers are going. She did tell me, father told me, she went up to the boss, he says, "I'm quitting, you are a thief." And she walked out.
Did this say to include attorneys?
Same thing, attorneys who write the documents, the same thing. You're right, it's not after the secretary, the attorneys who write out, there are attorneys, that's all they do all day long. Okay, where are we up to?
You know about it.
What do you say?
Saying assuming you know about it. You shouldn't the fact that it's. Right. I'm saying if the attorney gets contracted to write a document.
That's what it is. And the attorneys who write the loan, there's a guy in my shul.
If an attorney gets hired by a bank to write a loan document.
Bank is not a problem, but they don't know. But this guy, the from guy, Shtikla Babachi comes to my daf yomi. He once asked me, Mamish, he works for a huge Japanese company. And what happened was, and it turns out that he had to write documents between 2 Jews, non-religious Jews, on Ribis.
Okay, the goal there would be convincing to make it happen.
Yeah, but it's very hard to non-religious Jews. What? Yes, you're allowed to be.
So if a guy comes to a lawyer and says, "I want you to write a document,"
that's not a problem. But let's say between me and you, we got a lawyer write up a loan, the documents loan. 2 Jews become.
That's what I said. So it has to be that the lawyer knows that it's going
Yes.
to be. He doesn't know.
Zog der Rav warte. Viele eine Urev ele ba'ad keren belvad. See, we're going to have a lot about a Urev. So let me explain what a Urev is. An Urev is a guarantor. You take a loan and I guarantee if he doesn't pay it, I pay it. Shlomo Melech says an Urev is a fool. Because he thinks he's not going to get up, he says, I tell people, if you ask to be, don't be an Urev, unless you want to donate the money. Because usually if he needs to be an Urev, then, but an Urev means you guarantor. Now, sometimes you guarantor the kerem, that means the principal. Sometimes you guarantor the Ribis. But the Rav is specific. What happens if the Urev only guaranteed the loan, the kerem, but didn't guarantee the Ribis? Is it also over the Slav, or only if he guarantors both? Understand the question? Because he's ill. The Rav, the Rav is lenient and says that you're not over the lo yisasimu l'neshech if the only Erev and Iver, not lo yisasimu.
Either this or not even.
Right. Okay, this is the.
Contract says there's going to be ribis, right? There's contract with interest. He's guaranteeing on only principal, so he's facilitating the transaction. Without him, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but even if the
Like
Iver,
that,
you're right, it's even if the Iver. But not lo yisasimu. Lo yisasimu means you can't be in between the two of them. But the Rav says it's only if you get, you mean there's two lavos. If the Iver helping a guy doing a sin, or you're helping the loan, you're facilitating. Facilitating a loan is a separate lav. So Urev facilitating the loan is only if he guarantees both. Okay, that's what the Rav is saying. That's a technical question over here. Now this is we're getting into Ribis. Daled. This was just an introduction of Ribis. Now the kluloi sheribisi, the rule of Ribisi. Kol shenoitem mechaveira eiz eschar lam tu esachoiv. You take money for waiting of the loan. Amtuna Zachoy means I am charging you money because I'm waiting to be paid. You follow? That's what Ribis is. Because I gave you money and I'm waiting for it. So if I exchange item for item, but I'm getting more money because you want to get rid of whatever reason, that's not called Ribis. If I'm selling you something very cheap, I'm changing coins and whatever it is, that's not Ribis. Ribis means I gave you something, in order to get paid, I'm waiting. For that waiting, I'm charging you money. That's Ribis Deraisa. That's the rule.
So let's say you're late.
That's the Ribis. Doesn't make a difference.
So if you didn't pay on time, you got charged.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Didn't pay any time, you get charged. All this is Ribis. So late payment, but later on is Ribis. There are different rules of late payment, but I'm just explaining. The rule, this is a Loshen HaGemara. The rule of Ribis is called Agar Nater. You're getting paid for waiting. Because I waited for the payment, so that's why we're charging extra money. That's called Ribis.
So storage of an object that, falls into the Ribis category, let's say, fruits or whatever it was, or storable items, you can't store it, and you're paid to store those items. Like a refrigerator, like you have a large refrigerator, you store food in it, or whatever it is. Are you allowed to charge for storing that?
I'm not eating it. It's only when you give me an item that I'm consuming. And because now that item is worth $1 and you're waiting to get paid, I'm going to give you 2 apples. Like this boy was going to give a 6-pack. Terrible business deal. A 6-pack for that one. So, but boys, teenagers do that. Teenagers known to do these things.
In the case of buying the gas on a credit card, I put a tank on a credit card, and then my friend decides to give me half right there, or give me. I'm not waiting for money. He just gives
Oh, if he pays you right then and there, that's okay. I thought you said later you paid.
It was later, but it was the same type of idea. It wasn't charging.
Oh, then he wasn't charging Aganat. I thought because if he gives it to you right now, or he could have given to you right now, then you can give whatever you want. I want to pay 3/4 of the tank. I could say, you know what, I want to pay the whole.
He chose to give.
Yeah, no, that's something else. I thought you said because you waited and paid later. If the guy decides to pay the whole, or he decides to pay you $45 because he was so kind to you, that's okay. There's no Ribis.
He's actually waiting until later.
That's the right.
How long is waiting until later?
Any waiting, because I have to wait, I'm charged. So this is not the waiting, paying. When he decided to pay half, I thought you were saying because you waited. He decided to pay half because you wanted to split the gas.
The issue was he took him a little time to get the cash, and he decided to pay a little later, but it wasn't like, if he had the money then, he would have paid that at the same amount of money he paid me. He had things
That's
that
not
wasn't-
so clear anymore.
It's later, so later is the.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's not so clear what you're saying. But it's true. I could have seen these 2 boys are going out and driving and sharing, and the guy says, "I'll pay you. I want to pay 3/4 of the gas." It's okay.
He wanted to pay even more than the tank.
He could pay more, as long as not aganata. So says, you know what? I'll pay you. I have cash. We'll get cash, and I'll pay you. But if he says, you know what? Since I don't have money now, I'll pay you later. I'll pay you more than my share. That's Ribis. See, let's say your case. Let me say your case better. You're driving with your friend, and your friend says, put on your credit, but I want to pay the whole bill. That's okay. There's no Ribis over here.
But I don't have mine right now.
Yeah, well, it's not because I'm paying the whole bill because it's not because I want to pay the bill.
So it also has to do with what your intent is.
Yes.
So I want to pay half, and I get a little more later, so that's Ribis.
Yeah, but if you're getting late because you waited, if it's nothing to do with waiting, had the cash in the pocket, he could have got onto the gas station, get changed, he just was sitting in the car lazy, then it's not aganated. You understand? For waiting, he says. She chayv loy, but he's just chayv waiting. For waiting, not through business. And later we're going to learn Ribis through business is not Ribis deraisa. It's only Ribis derabanan. Later get to all the cases. The Ribis deraisa is through a loan. He says, "Harei Ribis shetoira afir loy pusik lo b'shas savua." He didn't make up b'shas the loan. Ela achakach keshebu letov enoisen loy. The harchiv lo isman. Let me explain the Rav over here. Rav, he paskins like Rav Rishonim. Let's say I told you I'm giving you $100 loan. No, I'm not charging you. Coming to pay, you told me you're going to pay me today. He says, you know what? You can't pay me today. Okay, I'm charging you extra dollar. Pay me next week. Then he becomes Ribis deraisa. According to Rav Rishonim, the Rambam is the only one. Let me start again. If a person gave you a loan and it didn't charge you anything, on your own grace, he decides you to pay $101, that's not Ribis deraisa. Ribis deraisa has to be from the beginning an agreement that we're going to pay you. You understand? That means that it's called kutzatz. How do you say kutzatz? You cut the deal. I made a deal with you. I gave you a loan 100 for 110 up front. But if I gave you a loan and we didn't talk about Ribis, and you were so kind, on your own you paid me extra money, that's Ribis derabanan. But what happened? Let me just finish it. What happens if we made up nothing? I gave you $100 bill and you tell me you're going to pay me tomorrow. No. And you say, you know what? You can't pay me tomorrow. That's not right. You say, you know what? I'll pay you next week. I'll pay you $110. The Rav passes like the Rambam and Ribis deraisa. Since we made up now to give you time, to buy time as we call in America, so that's why comes Ribis deraisa. You follow?
Is it the same thing? A lot of loan documents nowadays will have a penalty provision. If you don't, so let's say two Jews have a contract. They'll give you $1,000. You have to pay me back a month from now. But if you're a week late, there's a penalty, $250. Is that right?
That was given in the beginning.
No. The really penalty is not Ribis deraisa.
No?
And we later on, the Rav has a big chiddush about it. Let me explain why. See, there's no waiting. Let's say, I don't know in secular when tomorrow is. If 11:59, today is about the 22nd, 11:59, and it was supposed to pay the 23rd, and 11:59 he paid you the full amount, there is no penalty. But if he was late a minute, the penalty, so it's not the waiting. Because 11:59, you would have paid, let's say it's $1,000. You would have paid the thing, then it would be $1,000. The penalty has nothing waiting. The penalty is I wanted you incentive to pay me in time. So that's not Ribis deraisa. It's Ribis derabanan later on. There is a shitta that Rav holds. It is not that it's a Rashba that wants to say maybe derabanan. Most are not, but we machman Shulchan Aruch. I forgot the Rav shitta. I know he has a whole piece about it. But you understand now? I want you to, Ribis, we have to understand each step. You understand what I just said? He asked a question about penalty. Is penalty Ribis? This goes on with the rent. If you're late, someone told me it's a new law, you can't even charge penalty anymore, late rent. But it used to be in LA, if you pay rent late, there's a penalty clause. So it's not Ribis, because if you pay in time, 11:59 today is the due time, the check goes through, whatever, how it's called payment, then you paid the $1,000. You're a minute late, you're paying extra $250, but that $250 is not because I'm renting the money. It's a knas, it's a fine. Because if it would have been waiting, what difference does it make with 1 minute to the other minute? It's just you're late with the payment, it's called a fine. That's why it's not Ribis deraisa, it's only Ribis derabanan.
Why is it even derabanan? What's the problem?
Because it's very easy. If this is okay, then a guy's going to think that I could charge you more. You're right. People confuse this. Okay.
So if the borrower gives extra back, even though there's no agreement, I lend you $100.
That's Ribis derabanan.
It's Ribis derabanan.
So if you do it on your own, it's Ribis derabanan. If you're nice, people have asked me this all the time. You can't give $1 more of payment.
Suppose a friend friend comes and says, I really need some money. You say, okay, I'll lend you $2,000, whatever it is. And you're paying it back in 2 years. In 2 years, he realizes that because of the currency, the value of that $2,000 inflation inflated, and it's worth 18.
So we passing not allowed to. We'll learn that later. Can't pay.
You can't make it up to the bill.
No. That will have it's a whole everything is get discussed later. Got our patience a little bit over here. Okay. You know, if you know Chumash, if you learn Chitas and Chabad, you gotta say, but it's a Pasha Mishputim. It says like this: you know what Kenoisha means? Don't put pressure on the guy to pay. Kenoisha means the guy's not paying, so you can sit So the Rishbam al says, what are the two things? I can't pressure him to pay. So I'm going to tell him, okay, I can't pressure you to pay, but you owe me, the due date is now already. I want extra money now for it. Even that I cannot demand. So the Rishbam learns that's Pshat in the Pasuk. It's the Raisa. It goes together. I can't, the Torah says I cannot charge you and I cannot put pressure on you to pay. Now I want to tell you something, by the way, maybe, I don't remember, we learned it. People have a big mistake. You could put pressure on a person to pay if he has an extra car, he has 2 pairs of pants, and I mean, according to the Rav, you know, often people pull that card. A Rebbe called me up, I'll never forget, from Kmart. He says, a guy took a loan from me, $1,000, and he doesn't pay me, and I went over to him and says, no, and he tells me, what's with the lav, I said, tell him that if he has 2 shirts, he should give you one of the shirts. And he has, all he's allowed to keep is 1 shirt, 1 pair of pants, no Shabbos clothing, none of his wife's jewelry, he's got to pay you. People think that paying a loan is only after I spend all my Mishigas, then I'll pay you. All right. If I win the lottery and I did everything that I dreamt to do, then I'll also pay you the chayv. Okay. Let's move on. He says, he says, El ache kashvirito nois an archleisman, chim tov choiv ache she'ene mach mesavua. The Rav adds another thing, Rabbi say, which is most of the poskim. What happens? The loan started not with the money. You bought something, and you owe him money. And now, let's say you ordered plumbing supplies, right? So now he owes you the money. And now you says the guy doesn't pay you, and you call him up, you know what? You're late with your payment, so now I'm gonna put a surcharge, you say in English? Surcharge onto the bill. That's Ribis that I say. Even though it didn't start with a loan. It started strictly with a selling an item. You owed me $1,000 for the item, and that's called Ribis, he said. Yeah. No, it's a big chiddush. Not everyone agrees. The Rav passes the Raisa.
But if someone buys a couch, it's worth $1,000. He only gives you $500 for it, and he owes $500. Can I go take back the couch that's worth $1,000?
He doesn't pay you. You can take back the couch. That's not Ribis.
Do you ready to make $500?
That's okay. That's not Ribis. That's something else. You're mixing 2 separate issues. That's not Ribis. You're talking about the guy for closing, and then that's not Ribis really. That's a separate issue. Cash now.
If you pay me today, I'll give you the deal for $750. Normal price is $1,000. If you're going to pay me 30 days,
According to the Rav, he has a chiddush, you're allowed to do it. We'll later learn that. It's a big machlokes. The Shulchan Aruch happens to be mekel. Yeah. That's because that's okay. I'm gonna later learn why. Okay. Ach sheni mach mus minister harches man we im hi noit das schar al de meke gememke the avekribes us de suffer. That means you guys sell one of the things is that if you pay me now it's one price. If you pay me later it's a different price. Yeah, we'll later learn which case. See, the way they word it nowadays is differently. But the Gemara has a case. If you pay me now, I sell you an item, pay me now is one price. See, they word it differently. Pay me, really the price is $1,000. You pay me cash, you don't pay me credit card, you give me green right now. But but the guy says clearly, you went to the gas station, us, it was a gas station, Jewish gas station in our neighborhood. His children became from. But Al Capone, there was cash was one price, and with credit card is a different price. What are you saying? So Mamela, that's this Ribis, because I'm waiting to get paid. The reason why it's not Ribis today anymore, he could get immediately the money from the bank. If he pays money.
Why is it Ribis? He's just charging more for the item.
No, yeah, because why does he say cash is it's $1 the gas and it's credit it's yeah, but he charges more than 2%. It's more than 2%. It's not a credit card. If it's just the credit card price, you're right. But it charges more.
He's just setting the price though. He's not lending you gas.
Yeah, but he's saying since I'm waiting to get paid, I'm charging you more money. That's what it is. Because since I have to wait till the credit card sends me the money, that's going to take 2-3 days. So that's why I'm charging you more. You're right. If he would only charge you for how much the processing of it, there wouldn't be a problem. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes the people say, okay, listen, you give me a credit card, I don't get $1, I get 98 cents. And it cost me to process it, and it cost me a girl to go to the bank and pick this up. And it used to be, nowadays it's done with the computer already. But years ago it used to be you literally have to go to the bank. Right, so charging for the few days, if that's why you're charging, it's a problem. If you're just charging because it's for the paperwork, and the reason it's not a problem because most often it's hard to figure out how much what it is, and you could say it's a hassle to go through the paperwork and do it and charging more money. Which the schools, all the schools in LA, I don't know because the people made a big, if a check bounces, they don't charge you, they charge you $50. I don't know, Chabad does it? Does Chabad do it?
They charge you a credit card fee if you have credit card, and they charge you credit card fees. They all charge a credit card fee. If you want to pay your tuition with credit cards, every month it's with tax. It's a thing, and they charge a credit card fee. It's a processing fee.
They charge a processing, that's good. But
It's with an interest and everything like that.
But they're not charging, they're not charging, that's an administrative fee.
yeah, but I give you a motion that if you bounce a check, so I know Teresemis and other schools, Yaakov, they would charge you $50 for each position. It doesn't cost them $50. Yeah, but that's penalty and it's a headache for them because okay, now we have to send you a new bill and now we have to remind you again. And
So why can't any business do exactly?
yeah, if you do it for that, you do that. But often it's not. You're right. You do it for that, it's okay. But often when the thing says cash is one thing and thing is other because he has to wait for the money.
No, but going back to what we're talking about, 11:59, 12 o'clock, penalty kicks in. That's exactly it.
That's Ribis D'Rabbanan. That's Taka Ribis D'Rabbanan.
It's a problem. Even for the one, there's a problem.
Right now it says Abba Ribis.
Yeah, one second, we have to set this in.
It says Abba Ribis.
Yeah, Avak Ribis means the D'Rabbanan, which is with a suffering. The word Avak is dust.
Is all Abba Ribis, or does all Ribis D'Rabbanan mean Abba Ribis?
Yeah, that's the
Same
word.
thing always?
Yeah, there's one, we'll see, Avak Ribis is more chomer than, but there's another word, Ribis Yicheres, Ribis Mikdamus. There's 3 Ribis. There's Ribis D'Raisa, Ribis D'Rabbanan, and then there's looks like Ribis.
That's Abba Ribis.
Less than Avak Ribis. We'll see later in a minute. We'll see. Im Uvarei tu v'nut l'Avak Ribis, zu l'achzira bu l'utzis idei shemayim. If you took Avak Ribis, you have to look, I'm going to explain something about lutzis v'dei shemayim means. This is a huge mistake Tamid Chacham make. Even Tamid Chacham make this mistake. Lutzis v'dei shemayim means you're obligated to pay. It means we cannot enforce it by a court, but you're obligated to pay. Mushan Chosh Mishpat is a lot of halachas. We learned it over here. Musha Gruma is a lutzis v'dei shemayim. That means you're obligated to pay. I always say a simple case. There was a Rav in town who gave a lady permission on a divorce, and I don't know, in the heat of a moment, he told her, you're allowed to go to court, you don't have to go to Bezdin. So she went to court. And the husband called him, why did you give her, a heter? She says that you gave her a heter. Yeah, I gave her a heter. Later, a few years later, he realized there was no reason. And a guy called him up, asked him to be Meichel him. He said, I'm not Meichel you. You pay me how much it costed me to go to court. You told the Shila to go to court. It costed me $20,000 going to court to hire a lawyer and to do this. I wouldn't have gone to Bezdin, but it cost that much cheaper. This is called Lutza Deshma. He has to pay.
What does that mean?
Lutza Deshma, it's called a gruma. The rabbi, not knowing the halacha, paskind, and told a person to go to court. That's called a gruma. So if you take him to Bezdin, we cannot enforce it, but the Chazal, the Morav Rishon Motz, the Rabbanu, you must pay him. Just like you put on tefillin every day, you must pay him the loss that he had.
What's the difference between that and giving bad advice in business?
What do you say?
Giving bad advice in a business deal.
Bad advice, amazed? This is not knowing is amazed. Opening your mouth and saying something, opinion about Allah, and not knowing it well is amazed. That's what that's called. That means you are, how you say in English?
It's malpractice.
Yeah, not now. How's it called? It's negligence, gross negligence. Sometimes, rabbis going to get heated and get carried away with emotions. But you asked the what?
I want to be actually paid.
No, he didn't. It's $20,000, and he doesn't have it. And the guy's stubborn. He said, I'm sorry. Told him, didn't pay. Okay. Now, Rab brings us the Chol Ribis, Afilu Shidremeim. See, let me explain what the Rab is saying here. This question was asked to the Geonim. This halacha. The Rosh calls the Geonim. I want to show you they had such a hard time understanding the Ribis. Like today, I listen, I want to give you Ribis wholeheartedly. Do you know why? Because you're giving me a loan, you give me an opportunity to make business. So people somehow understood that Ribis means, okay, I'm reluctantly got to pay you. You know what I mean? I took a loan, and now we made a charge at the beginning. I wish I wouldn't have to pay. Guy's saying ahead of time, listen, you're giving me cash, I could open the business, I could open this business, I'll make money. I'm giving you Ribis wholeheartedly. I'm giving you as a gift. That is called Ribis. Doesn't make a difference. That's a Gzeirus Akosif, even though it doesn't make sense. And the guy said, the Goinim were asked, and the guy says, I can't give you Ribis, I'm not giving you a loan. So I'm so happy. Like this, the lawyer is saying, I now have a panosa opening to start a business. You still cannot charge Ribis. That's the explanation. You understand?
Does Ribis apply to future interests? I say, you give me $1,000 right now, I'll give you 30% value of my company. Because I need the money.
No. I sold you something. I sold you the company. It's an event. I sold you something. That's not Ribis. I sold you something right now. No, that's not Ribis.
Can you say that if the company is successful, I'll give you the 6%?
Once you start at Tanum, you have to know a lot more. Once Tanum means conditions, that's a problem. Okay. He says, I'm not going to give, he's not allowed to take. Every Ribis is mechil, is moichel, and it's a gift, he says. They always need cash flow, as we say. They give it with full heart. They want someone to okay, this is a quote of the Rosh. I'm just showing history how this is, the Rosh quotes the Geonim. Because people have a hard time. I should not remember the first time I learned the Ribis. I knew about the Ribis. I was quite young. I was breaking my head to explain why would the Torah ask it. There is really no explanation. It's a hard thing for people to do. And you have to understand, even today, but those days, the Jews, do you know what happened in the Middle Ages? Probably heard about it. The Jews were banned to have any profession. So they became the bankers. So they couldn't give a loan to each other. The Goyim were not allowed to give a Ribis those days. Once upon a time, the Goyim had certain halachas. So this was a big problem. The Jews were the ones who were giving land, they couldn't lend to each other. That's when they made the Heter Iska. They learn about the Heter Iska. How it is. What?
How old is the Heter?
Toises quotes the Heter Iska. I once had a Rosh Hashiva got up and he said, yeah, we have a Heter Iska. I said, you know who made the Heter Iska? Toises. He couldn't believe me. He thought it was a Pesachroinish Zach. So Toises Bovakama, Dav Tzadik Beis. Toises brings down Heter for Toises quotes, it's not his, Toises already quotes the Heter Iska. They just refined it, retuned it. As time ended, they made it even less. But the original Heter Iska, Toises brings down already. Okay. It's in a Heter Iska is not a. It's not. It doesn't mean but the Yidden say, I don't want to speak Lashon Hara, but it's nicht the Shabbos gerät. You heard that expression. And you're not supposed to speak about business Shabbos, but I have to tell you something. That's like it sounds horrendous. Like it's a shame Yicha doing an Aveda. But a guy does Aveda. He doesn't think about it. Here's like, I'm not trying to talk about a Shabbos, but I have to. But a Heter Iska is a real Heter. It's not, we'll later explain how it works. It's not something many people don't understand. It's real based on Halacha. Okay. Zog der Rabbi, that's a Gemara. That means if you give the Ribis, meaning if you give the Ribis, and I say to the guy, you know what, I'm giving you Ribis, but you should give it back to me. So normal to an aslahachzer is okay. That's also Ribis doesn't help. You understand what I mean? I'm giving you money, and I'm paying you my loan, paying X $100, but I'm giving you as a gift. But you give it back to me next week.
Does it help if he gives it back?
It's us. It's Ribis.
No, I understand.
The question is Ribis deraisa, Pashas Ribis derabana. Most places can say it's derabana.
Say after the fact. Let's say somebody
Yeah, after in a minute he says, "Mekomo kohen kanutul Ribis moyel mechila." Let's say that means you have to give back the money, but the guy has a right to say to you, "I'm oichel you." It's very important because often people don't realize. More than once this happened, and people. I was sitting at a dinner, and this was a guy who really knows how to learn. It was so complicated because the business was not working. They added a new agreement and. It's one of those businesses that were going sour and people just investing money. But it turned out to be Ribis deraisa. They didn't even realize it, how they were doing the word. And a guy paid $50,000 Ribis deraisa. The guy realized that. He says, I'm moichel, I don't want that. Ribis, you could be moichel. You understand? You know what that means? If I paid, you gave me a loan $100 and I paid you $110. So I'll be Torah, you have to give it back to me. And I have a right to demand it. But I could say to you, you know what? I gave you $10 extra. I realize it's Ribis deraisa. I'm moichel you. I don't want it back. That's okay.
Do they still get that there regardless?
Well, the Veda was done. The question is, if it's called the lava nitik lesa, and Mechila takes care of the lava nitik lesa. It's the what? No, you can't make an Aveda be moichel. A guy can't eat chaza and spill it out. No. The Veda, no. A guy steals and he has a lavaniti returning the thing. He did the Veda, just Alnai has to do tshuva. It's called the lavaniti glasa.
That's what I'm saying. So the guy's mindful that they still have the very.
Yeah, he has to do tshuva for what he did. Yeah, that's what you mean. A guy has to do tshuva for the ribis that was done. Correct. But he could be Michael. Ribis could be Michael. When many people don't realize giving a credit card to someone is Ribis deraisa.
Wait, what? To borrow?
If let's say a guy doesn't have a credit card, and the guy says to him, you know what, give me a credit card, and I'll pay the interest for it. Give me your credit card, and whatever the credit card is charging you, I'll pay. It's Ribis deraisa. You didn't know this.
Because you owe the money to the person.
Let's start again. You have a credit card. If I come to you and ask you credit card, when I buy the ticket, let's say, this is what happened to a lot of young people. So you buy a ticket. The Visa or the American Express doesn't know who I am, only knows you. That means they gave it to you to give it to me. So they didn't give it to you, they gave it straight to me. That means it's your money that you took and gave it to me. And if I pay the Ribis, I'm paying your choiv. That's the Ribis deraisa.
But if you pay it right away, it's not.
If there was no Ribis accumulating, you have to say, in case you don't pay,
If you pay within the 30 days.
yes, and if the guy doesn't pay you in 30 days, you have to pay and not collect, and if you didn't pay, you can't collect the Ribis.
Who did it is also part of the Ribis.
Yeah, but if, let's say, the guy did not pay in 30 days, and you say, listen, there's the credit card was used, and there's a thing, and the guy paid, that's Ribis Deraisa.
Also for the person who gave the credit.
Yes. So maybe people don't realize, giving someone a credit card is Ribis. You have to tell him, you can use the credit card, and if you're not, you should pay me tomorrow. But if you don't pay me tomorrow,
You have penalty.
no, but you can't, penalty is Ribis Derabanan Masa. Then I am not going to charge you the Ribis. I'll pay the credit card, but you owe me just the money.
There's a problem with a family member paying your credit card bill?
What do you say?
A family member paying.
Yeah, same thing. There's Ribis Deraisa. If your brother, not your brother, you don't get it. But the wife and you is one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not talking your wife. Talking, let's see, your brother. Yeah, that's Ribis Deraisa. Because your father is giving you a loan. Those are the differences in my.
You pay for the credit card.
Just no, that's not what he's asking. I'm using the what? You used your father's credit card and accumulated interest, and you're going to pay your father. That's Ribis Deraisa.
So, oh wow.
What if you're using your father's credit card to do things for him?
That's okay. You do it for him. That's okay. Talking,
So in those cases, you say
You can't pay the credit card, whatever.
you forgive.
The bill, the
You can say, "Amoichel the Ribis." You don't have to give it back.
You have to like figure out what the exact amount is.
It was done already.
What you borrowed.
It was done. You can say, "Amoichel."
Once you give your kid a credit card, and it's a convenience for you, it is in Israel.
When they say yeshiva, that's a different story. You're not giving him a loan. You're giving him to spend the money. It's your money. Now, I'm not talking about that. That's okay. All my children went to Israel and costed me plenty the credit card. But, we're not talking about that. But we're talking about where, he said he'll pay you back. He doesn't have credit. His credit is low.
Pay only what you borrowed on the card.
Right. What did you say?
You never pay back, there's no problem.
Yeah. Well, if you never pay back, then it's not a loan. I want to tell you a cute story. A guy came over to me, a doctor, and he says to me that a guy asked him to give him his credit card. Doctors have the highest credit. And first time I heard it. He has 52 credit cards, and each one $50,000. And I explained to me, because doctors don't run away. They have a profession, it's a going, and they know so he was able to get, and a guy came to him, and he says, give me $100,000, and you're going to have enormous amount of mileage. You want to know if it's Ribis or not. He says, we'll later learn the mileage is not Ribis. He's going to get mileage, not Ribis. I'll explain later why. But I said to him, I don't understand. This guy's in business. If the banks are not giving him a loan, that means the banks are the one who really want to give loan. And if they don't want to give him a loan, he must be in big trouble. No, Rabbi, that's not the question. Okay? I just... So I didn't see him for a few months. The one time I come to Kiddush, Rabbi, I owe you a big one. What happened? He went home, told his wife what I said, and his wife says, it makes sense. He can't get a loan from the bank. He must be in big trouble that he's willing to pay 14, then over 18%, whatever it is. It's incredible that the bank you normally gives, and the bank wants to give loans, and he can't give. So he didn't give. And 6 weeks later, he went bankrupt. I always tell people, when a guy comes to you with a loan, it's a mitzvah to give a loan, but be aware he's in major trouble. The bank's not willing to give a loan, because I sit in the Torahs and I watch what happens afterwards. The guy didn't pay, he's not paying, so why did you give him a $100,000 loan? I mean, if the bank, I see this all the time. You have to think as a businessman. If the banks don't, it's a mitzvah to give a loan. It's a great, nothing wrong, but be aware, it's a risk. That's what it is.
The guy's just starting out. Banks like to give loans to people.
Right. Yeah, but this guy was not
Need
starting.
the money, but they have other assets. Someone's just starting a business.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But this guy was in business a while. Yeah, and the banks refused him. The first time, you know what? I tell you the truth. When I told him this, I remember that Shabbat. When he told me, I was thinking maybe I did a terrible thing, because the guy's not giving him a loan. And I remember, I was really annoyed at myself, and I shouldn't have opened my big mouth. But then when it turned out that it would be bankrupt, I saw I did the right thing because doctors are the worst businessmen. They're terrible businessmen. I just watched this more than once. Most of them. They don't know how to do business, and they do silly investments. Okay. Zog der Rav, Yesh Ribis b'melucha kaloi melichavei seim melucha kala, ani esse melucha kvoide mizeh. There's Ribis in work too. It's very interesting. Bara, you work for me this, and I'll work for you down. You do this for me now, and later I'll do a harder job for you. Believe it or not, when I had many teenagers, the girls would bar amongst themselves. I'll do the dishes now, and I know, I'll pay you back with the. If it's a harder job, it's Ribis. Well, the girls know themselves that washing the dishes much as Shabbos, which one is harder? I don't know. Ask them. But I remember once they what? Well, it's some hold the rice or some. The goon says it's nothing. But there is Ribis.
Who says what value is what value?
There is a value. Talking of value.
But one person doesn't mind
Wash
washing
dishes today, I'll wash twice next week.
That's Ribis.
There's no waiting.
There is waiting. Waiting thing, I'm doing this.
I'm not getting that back.
Yes, you're paying. You're paying me. I did work for you. You owe me money. You're not paying me. It's not my turn to do the dishes.
It's not how
It is. It's not my turn. Let me tell you how it works. But you have girls? I had a house full of girls. So when it works this way, so one was supposed to do the dishes, and she wants to go out with her friends. So she's not going to do the dishes. So I'm going to do the dishes for you. I also want to go out. I make a deal. I'll do the dishes tonight, and you do the next 3 nights. That's how it used to work.
So what was Yaakov and Esau?
That's Ribis.
Yaakov and Esau, when he came in for the pieces of lentil soup.
There's no Ribis there. He sold them.
Made a sale.
Made a sale.
And why isn't this a sale?
This is I'm doing the dishes. I'm not my job. You're supposed to pay me money. Instead, teenagers don't have money. So it's not my job. You're supposed to do it. It's your turn this much of Shabbos. So it's your turn. I'm not supposed to do it. You want me to do it? Yeah, I know you don't have money. I want you to do it. Even if you do have money. I want payment for not doing something now, which you're not going to pay me now. I want payment double. If she could pay the money, it's true. But that's what it works.
One coworker tells another coworker, "I'll stay here. You can go home, and I'll work
Double,
Sunday.
more, or harder work than it's Ribis.
Does that work also among husband and wife?
No, it doesn't. What?
Suppose Mr. Shabbos has more value to his brother than 2 regular nights.
For this girl, it's not really the value. She wants to go out with her friends, so it's a value. She wants to go, tonight they're getting together, and there's
So why isn't that a
it's not a mechira. Let's say we could put a price. It's $5 washing the dishes. Let's say. So she wants $10 for it. It's not worth more. It's only washing dishes the same value for you. No. It's for you because you want to go out with your friends. It's worth more. That doesn't make it that doesn't make it more worth. Halacha, the value has to do. You have to think as a businessman.
Charge a customer.
Value of something is how much you can get it done. Not because you have sentimental feelings tonight. An object. People have asked me more than once. A guy lost his grandfather's tillum. So for me, I wouldn't give it away for $1,000. I said I wouldn't pay 50 cents for your grandfather's tillum. So you pay whatever second-hand tillum, an old tillum, which is you don't pay sentimental. You don't pay because today it's worth for me much of Shabbos. Who knows?
Saturday night dishes is worth more than Tuesday night dishes.
That's a separate issue. Yeah.
Isn't that what you're willing to pay for that night to get it done?
Yes. Anyways, it's a mission. It's a mission. If you work something harder, you give payment for. If it's not a payment, it's just like anybody's doing, just switching turns or something else. I'm talking. You're doing one job, and I'm not pay. I'm going to do the job. How they're going to pay you? I'll do another job, which is a lot more value for it. A harder job, a longer day. The Gemara takes. I'll plow for you now. I'll work all day. But you're going to pay me a summer day. I work in those days. They worked in the day. That means the winter was shorter, and you pay. That's called Ribis.
But do you take what the value of the person who needs that thing done? Do you take
No.
and why is that not?
The value, whatever the value is, we don't care what you, the value.
But my
Well, let me
value
give you a
is
mashal.
bigger. I don't get
One
that.
time, we, as the growing up, my daughters, there was a couple who always used to use a babysitter. And she didn't want to go. They wanted to go out very badly. They offered to double the price. Yeah, but that's not ribis. That is the enticer to come do the babysitting.
That's supply and demand.
Yeah, that's just they wanted to go out so badly, and the couple, and they wanted dafka my daughter. The children knew my daughter, so they would pay. I remember it was an enormous amount of money, more than double or triple. Like she was just not in the mood. I think I remember what the case was. It's nothing wrong. That's not a loan. Loan means you owe me money for doing this. Instead of money, I'm asking you to pay me later, but I want a borrow. Okay, we'll stop over here, everybody say.
It has to do a lot with the time value.
Yes.